Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show with your host, Phil Tarrant.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today. Have an investor in the studio. We like to mix it up. And today, someone who probably representative of a very small portion of Australians, in that he has a sort of a reasonably sized portfolio. A lot of the numbers sort of getting bandied around these days is that most Aussies own between 1 and 2 investment properties if they are a property investor. Today's investor's got 6 in his portfolio, so it's pretty substantial, and that's representative of only a small fraction of all the property investors in the market. Before we get going, though, I just wanted to quickly note, if you hear any sort of background noise, the studio here is pretty good, but there's a lot of building work going on in our building right now with guys with drills and stuff trying to do different things on the side of the wall. So I do apologise in advance, but a lot of it's got to do with a lot of the construction going on in North Sydney at the moment. If you're not aware, that's where we record from. And it is a suburb which is changing rapidly. We've been here for probably 10 years or so, and once upon a time, North Sydney was a sleepy little place on the weekend. Even trying to get a beer after hours was near impossible. But it's a huge amount of building work going on right now, which is cool. We've had some big tenants sort of move into the area around your Coles and your Aldis and your JB Hi-Fi. So it is a changing place. And I've been watching property markets around North Sydney, and this is just anecdotal, but it's funny to see how things shift and change based on infrastructure work. I think people are looking to change how they live, and a lot of people who want to work in North Sydney are also looking to live in North Sydney. So there's both commercial stuff going up. There's also a lot of residential stuff going on as well. And our guest in the studio today, we're here to talk about his property portfolio, Nathan Gray, but he's also responsible for some of the building going on right now. There's Channel 9's coming into North Sydney, which is a huge brand to come to the commercial side of the suburb. What else is happening in North Sydney, Nathan? You've got your finger on the pulse. You're working in the building game. What's behind all this craziness going on in North Sydney?
There is a fair bit of work. I guess there's been a huge demand for tenants in the area too, which is seen in the, the rates in leases that we've seen.
Yeah.
From what the agents are saying, it's probably the best time they've seen as well. So it's a lot of the commercials kind of moved into resi. Yeah. And now I guess that's having a flow-on effect for the tenants in the area.
It is really changing, just the whole feel, the attitude, the culture in North Sydney. You can just feel it in its bones, over the last couple of years. Ever since sort of Coles, 2-3 years ago, they started doing all the pavements and, the North Sydney Council. And obviously, I reckon Cole said to him, we'll move in, but make the place look a bit sharper. So,
exactly.
So when you start seeing that work going on, and this is from a property investment perspective, these are all clues, telltale clues of how suburbs can change. And we're talking about I'd say it's a pretty high density. North Sydney's a pretty big place, right? Commercial, residential. But all these little clues, as a property investor, you start seeing going, something's in the wings right now. And you're working on the new Channel 9 building.
Yeah, so that's our One Denison project for Winton Property Group. So that's keeping our team very busy at the moment.
And that's going to happen really quickly, right? The way they build now is get it up,
basically
get
a floor a week. And so, as I was saying before, it'll be topped out in about 12 months' time. It's
just how many levels is that going to be?
36 stories.
Okay, and is it going to be any resi at all in that? It's all
all commercial. Yep.
All commercial.
Yep. So about 60,000 square metres of commercial.
How many people would they sort of jam in?
1 per 10.
Okay.
That's the rate that they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people in North Sydney. It's not just our building. It's all the other new builds around as well. So plus the metro as well. So it's going to be quite a little busy town.
And there you go. So when you talk about how infrastructure can shape development, the new metro line, which is essentially an extension of the new train line going out through the northwest suburbs out through Rouse Hills, extending right down into the city. So there's new stops in North Sydney. There's one in Crow's Nest, one in St Leonard's, I think, all the way up through to Chatswood, right?
And then Macquarie Park as well. So little hubs along the way that are going to benefit from that.
So train line goes in, all the building work follows, and then there'll be I haven't really done much research yet how that might influence property along that new
I guess
belt.
Even Crow's Nest, there's just huge speculation from people going in there buying sites on the back of the metro alone. So it's certainly having an effect on the property market locally here.
I might even put a little bit of focus on this to see how it's changing property prices. The problem is around here, it's a big entry price, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You've got to drop a few bucks as a property investor. But Crow's Nest is a great joint, It's a little, not really a little, it's a village. It's got everything there. And you just need to drive down Pacific Highway now where they're building a new train station, a tube stop. And the infrastructure development going there.
It's amazing.
Massive.
Yeah.
So hats off to New South Wales government. They seem to be doing some good stuff at the moment, investing in infrastructure spend, and that will translate hopefully into for property investors some good buying, long-term capital growth sort of buying opportunities, and you put that in the framework of changing property markets. There might be some good bargains out there, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about your property portfolio, Nathan. Well, so how long have you been investing in property? What's the story?
About 7 years now.
Okay.
I guess my story is I was a real estate agent for so many years.
Real estate agent, were you?
Yeah, well, so I went through the roles of property management to sales in resi, jumped out of resi, did a bit of commercial, industrial on around Alexandria Botany area. Got a bit bored of that. GFC hit, and I was lucky enough to see the mentor who runs Winton Property Group. He was the old CEO of Winton. He had a similar interest, like going from resi to commercial, industrial, and then he started in property development. So I went and spoke to him just to find out. I was going through a bit of a rough patch with work, finding it a bit difficult because of the GFC, and then he ended up giving me the opportunity to come over and work at Winton. So I've been there 10 years in what was September.
Okay. And what's your job at Winton? What do you do?
Acquisitions manager.
So you find places for you guys to build stuff?
Exactly, yeah.
And do you only do commercial stuff, or you do residential? Or
everything. We're doing commercial, resi projects, land, subdivisions. So they're across everything. They're a little private company.
I wouldn't say little.
No. I guess there's only 20 of us in the office, but we can kind of move with where the market's going.
Yeah. Oh, I'm familiar with the brand. It's a very successful building organisation. If you're building 30 plus floors in North Sydney, you're not little.
No, there's only 20 of us in there, and one of probably the biggest departments in there is accounts. So mostly they outsource a lot of the work as well.
So how do you go about? I imagine you're quite fortunate if you work in acquisitions. So you're looking for all the telltale indicators for why you should be investing in buying a particular site to develop in a particular site. So all those fundamentals must translate down into your own property portfolio. Do you use the same principles to find your own stuff versus multi-million dollar acquisitions and builds?
Oh,
same
kind
bit
of
different.
Yes,
Yeah.
I guess my thing was I just wanted to have that, cash flow, and I guess I didn't want to rely on my wages and income. So I wanted to have that backup with property, and that's where I was looking, for this cash flow, cash neutral in my property portfolio.
So investing in property, then what's a long-term vision for you?
I think I always said that I wanted to get up to about 20, keep them for a cycle, and then sell half, pay off the rest. Looking now with what I'm doing and I guess what I've been studying, I guess I want to do probably more development side. Whether it's start off a small kind of subdivision and go to townhouses or something, that's kind of what I think I'd like to get into now.
Which is a typical development for most property investors. They start investing and they like the game and they get really into it. Obviously, you work in a sort of similar space as well, so you're going to have the aptitude for that. But then they go, what else can I do? It's like a fisherman that goes, I'm just happy to fish off a pier, and then 10 years time they've got marlin fishing boats and they're out catching bluefins off the shelf. So it's the development
natural
that people
progression,
have, natural progression.
Yep.
But is it about, do you want property to be a career or property investment, or do you want to have a nice retirement? What is the end result?
A bit of both, I think.
Okay.
I really love what I do and where I work. Good group of people, but I guess I just want that backup. So if I go, I just want to focus on my own thing, I can go do that as well.
Yeah.
Or if they go through a tough time and whatever happens with work, I'm not relying on my job. I want to have that, I guess, freedom to move. So that's what I look at for my property portfolio too.
Okay. So let's have a chat about your portfolio. What sort of assets have you got in it right now?
So I got 6 altogether. Okay. Just sold a block of land out at Marsden Park a few months ago.
Marsden Park, which is
Western Sydney.
Yes.
Yep.
Is that Northwest Marsden Park? Out near Pittown? No.
Yep.
Is that right?
Blacktown area.
Blacktown area.
Yeah.
Riverstone Way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. So that's not far off that
Yep.
new development line of.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
But that was, I guess, kind of bought off the plan. Had 9 months to settle. Couldn't settle, so I ended up selling it for a profit, which luckily worked out in my favour anyway.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And so what was the first property that you secured in your portfolio?
So the first one was a 3-bedroom townhouse in East Maitland.
Okay.
So I was actually going up that area for work a fair bit. Struck up a bit of a relationship with the local real estate agent who was selling our works development at the time. And he happened to say that he's got this townhouse site and he's selling them off, either renovated or unrenovated. So I decided to buy one that was renovated and paid a little bit more, but bought a bit of time too. I think it was a 6-month settlement.
That's pretty good. So Maitland being sort of Hunter Valley way, it's a
lower,
big sort of
lower Hunter.
Big sort of hub of the Hunter. Quite a lot of mining stuff out that way,
Yeah.
as well as benefits from the viniculture of the Hunter. So what did you pay for that place?
$210,000.
Okay, that's not bad. When did you buy that? It's a little while ago.
7 years ago. Yeah, that was my first one. So
yeah, wow. That'll be doing pretty well today, I imagine.
Yeah, it's now getting $335 a week rent.
Okay. What sort of value do you reckon it is now?
Probably $350.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not a bad investment. So what happened after your Maitland purchase?
Well, basically stayed in the same spot.
Okay.
So that one settled 6 months later. I went back to him and bought the one right next door.
Okay.
Did the same process again.
Yep.
So delayed settlement. I paid $5,000 more, so I went to $215.
Yeah.
I think at the time they were both renting then for about $330 a week as well. So
how were you able to get such long settlements on this? Did one person own all of them and they were selling them
so
off piece by piece?
the real estate agent owned, I think with 5 other people, they owned the whole townhouse site.
Okay.
So the deal was you pay $180, whatever it was then, unrenovated, or pay a premium, but that's going to cause you to have a delayed settlement for the property to be renovated.
Oh, so they renovated them for you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. And so that today is probably the same sort of value.
Yeah,
sort of
exactly the same.
380. Yep. Okay, so it's 3 townhouse developments. Maitland's gone crazy recently, I heard. They put like fancy gold class cinemas in, and there's been a new
Stocklands have been going nuts up there.
Has gone, which is great in terms of, again, going back to our original conversation around the investment in the infrastructure. Stockland's up there putting up huge malls with gold class cinemas. You know, there's obviously economic indicators
of demand for it as well. Yeah,
which is good. So what happened after that second townhouse?
So after that second one, I think I went to a property seminar somewhere, and they were talking up Whyalla.
Okay.
So
down in South Australia.
Yep.
Whyalla? Yep.
So I was a bit against signing up for any fees or anything like that. So I thought I'll go find one myself. Struck up a relationship with a local agent. He mentioned that he's got this one. I forget the price now, $140,000.
Okay.
And then I bought it.
What was it for 140 at townhouse?
3-bedroom duplex.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not bad. That's so cheap, isn't it?
It's pretty good. $195 a week rent. So kind of working on the numbers was pretty good.
And today that's probably doing okay, I imagine. What would that be?
Yeah, the price hasn't moved much. They've had a bit of a rough time down in Whyalla.
Yeah.
But now the rent's at $205.
Okay.
So
that's good cash flow. Yielding to your point around having a positive portfolio. Okay, what happened after Whyalla?
Decided to make my way back up to the Hunter.
Okay.
So again, with work, I was working up there even on weekends on one of our land developments. Just looking at what was around, I went to an area called Talara, so just outside of Maitland area. I bought a 3-bedroom house for $210,000.
Wow, pretty bad.
Yeah.
And what sort of yield were you getting on that? What sort of rent?
That was getting, I think, about $300 a week at the time, which now these days it's getting $335.
Okay. This is a very sort of cash flow positive portfolio you've got here. Yeah. Okay. And then after, it's at Talara.
Yep.
I've never heard of that suburb before. I should know, but I don't. What happened next?
I went back to the same suburb.
Okay.
Just because I could see the return that I was getting there.
Yeah.
That one, I bought the next one for $241,000. And it was getting, I think, about kind of the same rent.
Okay. Great. All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5, is it? Is that?
Yeah, I think that's 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the last one of the portfolio?
So the last one was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It went up to Queensland.
Okay.
Yep. So an area called Gales.
Okay.
So I think it's 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom, huge block of land. I think it's 989 square meters.
Okay.
Bought that for $229,000.
Yep.
And at the time it was renting for $300 a week. That's kind of come back a little bit now.
Yeah. Where's Gales?
It's Ipswich.
Okay.
So it's out that area.
Southwest.
Yep. I think
Brisbane.
Goodna, Gales, Booville kind of area. It's out that, yeah.
Have you been up to Gales? Have you checked it out?
Yep,
Did
sure
you go?
have.
So a common thing, just chatting through the properties you were discussing there, was that you had a good relationship with the agent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so is that something you cultivated or organically happened and you use that as really opportunity to buy?
Just organically happened. I guess being a real estate agent, They're certain kind of people.
Yeah.
Not putting that the wrong way, but that's the way I am.
They're great people, real estate agents.
Yeah. I mean, they've always been helpful. I guess if you give it out, they'll give it back too. So that's what I guess how I've always found my places.
So what's the secret to dealing with agents to get the best deals?
Just kind of working with them. Yeah. I guess, they want to help, obviously, their vendor, but they all obviously want to get a deal done as well. So being a real estate agent, I guess you're the middleman between two people. So if you can, help each other out, then it all works out well.
So how do you work out then where, as an ex-real estate agent yourself and dealing with real estate agents, when do you know that the negotiation has sort of reached a conclusion and you're probably at the right market price? What's the telltale factors?
Guess probably when you've had enough.
When you're really, okay, that's good enough. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. Look, dealing with my investments, I guess I'd try not to get too tied up with the whole I don't fall in love with them as well. So I got a budget that I'll probably stick to as well. So the one for Whyalla, for example, I didn't even go see that. That was just all done on the numbers. There was no way that I was going down there for a weekend to go check out something. So, and it's probably been one of the better performers as far as vacancy rates. Had the same tenant the whole time.
And how do you feel about your portfolio? Are you satisfied? Do you think it's a good portfolio?
Yeah, I am. I would have liked more, but it's been a bit tough with the recent environment as well. That recent lending environment happened after I bought Queensland, so that's slowed my process a little bit, which is unfortunate. And
you want to keep going? Is that the idea?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
So you mentioned the initial target was sort of 20 properties. Have you got like a dollar value in mind of what you would like your portfolio to be worth?
No, not really. I think at this stage I was just going to keep growing it until I've had enough or I get bored.
Yeah.
I guess probably a little bit of ADD kicks in at night and I'm still looking at properties going, this one looks all right, that one looks all right, but unfortunately just can't buy anything.
What are you looking for at the moment? When you're on realestate.com, when you're watching telly?
Subdivision sites.
Sites. Yep. In which particular areas?
Probably Brizzy again, even the Hunter.
Yeah.
I still think there's a fair bit of demand over there. So, you always see opportunities and I'll figure out a way to get one very soon.
So how do you filter finding sub-development sites? Do you look for, is it land size mainly is your key thing, or is it location, or is it, do you know the councils that you're operating within have different rules all the time for what you need?
No, initially it's just a general search. So I looked at something recently in Brisbane through the agent that manages my property. She gave me a fair bit of detail and I guess it didn't go any further, but I guess it's just a feel. Just know if it's going to work or not as well.
Yeah.
But it is on all, what's around it too. That's going to help.
Yeah. So when you're looking at sites to develop, are you looking for like duplex sites or townhouse sites or stuff that's even bigger than
personally?
That? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I guess townhouse, even just straight subdivisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be a nice, easy one to do.
Like split it and sell them, or
basically,
just cover the cost to sell it and
not have to worry about architects and plans and all that kind of stuff as well. Not get stuck in that planning side of so much, but just deal with the local planner, get the subdivision plan and sell it, and I guess wipe your hands clean of it.
And Brisbane's pretty attractive for you right now when it comes to
price
this sort
point
of stuff. Yeah. Any sort of particular areas you want to sort of stay in the Ipswich sort of area or the Logan area? Because once you know the requirements of council to identify stuff, every council's got different stuff, different requirements around frontage and land size and
setbacks
and all this sort of stuff. And it can be pretty complicated and confusing. So if you find a particular council, you know the rules and you can go and find stuff within it that meet your priorities. Is that what you're doing?
No, not necessarily. I guess it depends on the council and how lenient they are towards development or pro-development. But I've been looking at stuff even on the Gold Coast as well. So, even if it's just got old unit block, for example, where they can go X amount of stories higher, that kind of stuff is still of interest because someone else might do the uplift while you're in that unit block as well.
That's not a bad idea. So you have property managers managing all your, and is there any reason why you get other people to do it than doing it yourself?
Just so I don't get the phone calls.
Okay. You just don't
Being
want to
a property manager, I know, get a 12 o'clock phone calls for dishwasher not working. I don't want that kind of hassle.
I don't think a lot of people appreciate just how hard a property manager's job is, right?
It's hard. It's hard work. Yeah. And there's no appreciation for it either.
How's that going to get changed? You think it's just always the way it is? I think property investors appreciate what property managers do, but they often don't really get the relentless requests of stuff that they've got to look after.
Yep. It's a full-on job and it's full-time work. Like I know have your day off through the week or whatever, but you're probably not. I've done that kind of role, so it is hard.
It is difficult, yeah. And how do you choose a good property manager then, having sort of that background? Is there anything you look for?
I guess one of the things for me is, having done that role, I look for constant follow-up. Someone that's always in contact, probably easier to contact as well. If they call you 2 days later after an owner's called them, I kind of think you've lost my business already. I think in real estate, talking is the key and communication is a key to the relationship. So if a property manager can't do that, there's probably no point in them being a property manager.
Yeah. And do you think you're a good landlord? Are you pretty responsive? And
yeah, I try to
happy to spend? Yeah.
Well, you don't like to at the time, but I know to keep the tenant there, you got to do that. It can hurt your hip pocket every now and then, but that's part of being a landlord, I guess.
Yeah. And you've had much rotation with people in your properties, or it's been pretty tight?
Some I have. Queensland I've had a fair bit.
Okay.
The ones in Maitland and the Hunter have been pretty good. The one in Whyalla, like I said, she's been there since day one and been fantastic.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when do you think you'll buy next? Any time horizon for us?
I like to say about 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And will you cash up through refinancing stuff you got, or you'll
probably a bit of both?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the idea, but yeah, probably a bit of both, I think, at the moment. See what happens.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's really good. It's a very diversified portfolio in that you've got places all over the joint, from Queensland, New South Wales, and Whyalla. Some of it, like Maitland, you claim is sort of regional. It's not really metro, but Maitland's still growing, as we mentioned. You've got no concerns about all these areas where you're getting good yields, but do you think you're going to get the capital growth over time on these?
I hope so. Probably more so Brizzy and the ones around the Hunter, probably off the back of growth that we're seeing in Newcastle for the Hunter Valley ones. And then Brisbane, I think there's a fair bit of movement up there because people are moving, relocating from Sydney to Brizzy.
Yeah. How long does it take to drive from Maitland to Newcastle? I've never done that. I normally sort of come back to Sydney.
Maitland to Newcastle now, with the freeway, it's probably 40 minutes.
Okay. That's pretty close, really. It's very different living in Maitland than what it is in out in Newcastle.
I'm sure, yeah.
Out in the country. It's quite nice. But no, it's good, Nathan. Thanks for coming in, mate. I really enjoyed the
No problem.
chat.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for potentially bringing in some good restaurants and bars in North Sydney.
It's
long overdue. So
we'll go have a drink.
When I heard it was happening, when I heard Channel 9's going, I thought, okay, media people typically like a good bar and a good restaurant. So,
so I hear. Yeah. So do real estate agents.
So do real estate agents, which is great. But thanks, mate. Thanks for coming in and sharing what you're doing and giving a greater sort of insights into your portfolio.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Nice one. Thanks for joining us today. If you've just found the podcast, welcome. If go and check it out, there is literally many episodes wherever you're listening to it right now, and we do everything from chatting with property investors through to demographers and property economists. So anything that you are thinking about property right now, I'm sure you can find a podcast episode which is going to help you out with that. If you're new to Smart Property Investment, you can go and check out the website, smartpropertyinvestment.com.au, full of information about property and property investment. You can subscribe there as well, smartpropertyinvestment.com.au/subscribe. Social media, Smart Property HQ, go and check that out. If you've got any questions about what we're doing here, or we're going to do a Q&A session pretty soon, email the team, editor@smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. We'll be back again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property, or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.